Other interesting political news, you have Mitch McConnell is medically clear, quote unquote. Now, this is after the 81-year-old gentleman actually got in front of a press conference and he froze. And it was quite awkward. He looked confused. And his, what's a nice word of saying helper? His assistant actually had to, well, thankfully they didn't have to wheel him away, so he's not as bad as Feinstein yet. But they had to escort him out. And now this is coming from his doctor. He says, quote, occasional lightheadedness is not uncommon in concussion recovery and can be expected as a result of dehydration. Now this is from Dr. Brian Mohanahan. And apparently he actually suffered a concussion in March after a fall, which, again, the older you get, the worse that is. And Jesus, he actually had Biden say that McConnell sounded, quote, like his old self when he called him on the phone. Talk about the blind leading the blind. Now, I guess it's somewhat nice to have, at times, have decorum between the political rivals where, they have these times of pleasantries, but to say he's medically clear, I don't know how realistic that is. Again, he's 81 years old. He's done some good things that I've liked over the years, but overall he's been kind of a lackluster politician. And I mean, will these people ever willingly step down? I mean, he's 81, he's still going. And they actually did ask him last week when he froze in the conference. They asked him, hey, you going to run for election in 2026? Which I don't see how he's going to make it that long. He's having trouble now. I don't see how it's going to get any better. And then you have Dianne Feinstein, who's 91 years old. She doesn't know where she is. She literally came out of session one day, and a reporter went up and asked, how's your 3-month health vacation or fancy leave of absence? And she goes, what do you mean? I've been here the whole time. No, you have not. You've been somewhere else. And then she actually came out of another session. She goes, did I vote on that? Now, granted, that also is probably the average intelligence level of many people in politics, where they know what they're voting for because they don't read anything anymore. Another thing I don't agree with is omnibus packages, where it's a bill of 58 million bills, where you basically just have to vote yay or nay. But besides the point, she doesn't even have power of attorney over herself anymore. Her daughter does. So Dianne Feinstein is 91 years old. She can't walk. She's being wheelchaired around by Pelosi's daughter, I think. Another conspiracy theory, but interesting. But she doesn't have the legal authority to make her own decisions about her life. Her daughter does. Her daughter has the power of attorney. So she can't make decisions for her own life, but she can make the decisions for about 400 million Americans? What? How does that make any sense? But they won't give up power. And again, as you can see, Mitch McConnell is a Republican. He's on the right. This is an issue on both sides of the political aisle. Now, unfortunately, it's an old cliche of, people who seek power will rarely ever willingly give it up. But I don't know how greedy they have to be for power, or their family members have pushed them towards it, but I mean, they should be enjoying I was about to say their golden years, but I don't know how many years they have left. They should be enjoying it on the beach, or go to Florida apparently, and just spending time with their grandkids. But instead, they're just holding on to that power, almost like a death grip. Let me know in the comments, do you think we need term limits? What's the solution? I don't know what it's going to be, because if you have cognitive tests, then it's going to be, you'll have people making the tests so that they're skewed against their political opponents. That's my speculation, or my concern rather, around if you were to have some type of cognitive test, you'll just make the test to fit your needs. I don't know what the solution is. I think term limits are. There's been a couple of politicians throughout the years suggest it and bring it up for vote. Ted Cruz has in the past. But again, it's kind of like the insider trading thing, where politicians are allowed to do insider trading. If a CEO does it, or if I do it, go to jail, of course. But when you're the government and you regulate yourself, there's very little incentive to actually do the right thing, unfortunately. So I don't see all getting better anytime soon, but as I always say, time shall tell. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in again. Again, we're trying to get to 3,000 subscribers by the end of September. Actually, 4,000 if we really swing it. So I really appreciate you clicking that button. Also, taking the time to like and comment helps me out. Appreciate the feedback and insight you have with these topics. Love to hear about your experiences. Also, and lastly, don't forget to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe and fight the good fight.